Hello indie game fans! August 2019, again, seems like such a long time ago, and will go down as one of the best months for indie game new releases, but as always, let's begin with some quick picks worth checking out. Death Crown is a simplified 1-bit real-time strategy game that has you playing as Death herself, punishing the human king for his overconfidence. The art, while in complete black and white, certainly has a look to it, which is a great example of how art styles make games.
Listen, I need you to do me a favor, okay?
The FMV investigative game, Telling Lies, is the follow-up to Her Story, and similarly has you scrubbing through footage in order to uncover the truth behind the current situation that these people are in. One criticism that I have seen is that there isn't really a definitive conclusion to the game, since while you can uncover the twists and turns in the plot, the game doesn't outright come to say that yes, this is what happened. Interesting story structure with excellent acting.
My name is Blue. I'm unemployed and I live with my parents.
Never Give Up is another splatformer that carries on the lineage of the Give Up Flash game series on sites like Armor Games. A challenging platformer featuring a familiar voice, while some might find the commentary and humour to be overbearing, I generally thought that it was alright. This is helped by the fact that the game feels good to control and uses the concept of iteration, having you play through the same basic level a couple of times in a row while adding more rooms, traps, and so on. Heave Ho is a physics-based action game where you control this legless, two-armed blob, with the objective of getting to the end of the level. The controls are simple, just grabbing onto things with your left and right hands, but you must then use momentum and gravity to fling your way to the finish. Seems to be much better in multiplayer, since you are able to hold hands to form long chains, but perhaps single player is not as fun.
It all started when I found this book.
What the
Wait! Are you actually talking back to me?
Took you a while, huh?
The Necronomicon in
Gibbous, a Cthulhu adventure, is a beautifully animated point-and-click adventure game with cosmic horror overtones, where you play as a detective seeking to stop a cult from getting their hands on the Necronomicon, as well as a bumbling librarian and a cat who became able to talk due to the magic in said book. While many would compare this to old-school LucasArts adventure games, I would say that much like remakes and remasters, this is what your brain thinks the old games look like, but there is definitely a modern shine and polish over it. Excellent voice acting and an intriguing story rounds off the package and is one of the best produced titles that I have seen in a while. Moving on, here are the top 5 best indie games for August 2019. The sequel to one of my all-time favourite platformer games is Electronic Super Joy 2, and one nice thing is that the base game is free to play as well, with the optional Gold Edition DLC adding even more levels. This changes things up from the first game by adding more mechanics, but the core platforming gameplay is still present and is still excellent. There's great writing, awesome music, and the very distinct contrast of silhouettes against vivid colours. Oh yeah, indeed.
Welcome to Wilmot's Warehouse, a game for people who love to organise things. Wilmot is in charge of this enormous warehouse where deliveries arrive at the bottom and customers place orders at the top. Time is limited though because nobody likes waiting too long for their orders, so I've been organising similar objects into groups to make it easier to find what I need.
Wilmot's Warehouse, as the trailer states, is a game for people who love to organise things. Play as Wilmot, who has to sort through each new batch of items being delivered to the warehouse, having to know where everything is, since you only have a limited amount of time to pick the right items and to deliver it to your customers on time.
This robo-friend to work. This is an awkward shape. I have made a problem for myself. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah.
Central to this is that you can only see items in your vision radius, so there is an element of memory in this.
Far away, I guess. And that strange backwards L that I still am not 100% sure is in a place I'm happy with, but I found it.
However, every 3 rounds or quarter, so to speak, you do get a stock take opportunity where you can spend all the time in the world organizing the items, so there's a nice aspect to all of this if you just like to sort, organize and pack things away.
You, my friend, will need to start pulling your weight. Let's drop off the cake. Whoop. Yes.
There are also upgrades like a dash, the ability to rotate blocks, the ability to carry more items at one go, and even to create more storage space. I personally found this to be a rather calming experience, since you just need to sort out some things with a little bit of time pressure here and there.
Wilmot's Warehouse, a game for people who like to organise stuff.
Another sequel makes the list with Anodyne 2 Return to Dust, 6 years after the original was released. This is an action-adventure game that uses PS1 era style polygonal graphics as compared to the 16-bit SNES look of the original. While evidently, we can see how pixel art holds up a lot better as compared to early polygons, Anodyne 2 is no less surreal and creepy, and the art style does grow on you eventually. The writing is excellent, perhaps hitting a little too close to home in the feels department, and there are weird and bizarre creatures and characters, such as one which is entirely made up of tongues. Love the weirdness that is indie games. A no-brainer for this list is Dicey Dungeons by developer Terry Kavanagh of Super Hexagon fame, a dice-based roguelite dungeon crawler. This has you playing a set of familiar archetypes such as the warrior, thief, and witch, traversing through a twisted game show dungeon created by Lady Luck herself, in hopes of winning a grand prize. While starting off slow and simple, the variety in the character mechanics and special abilities is really something to behold, and while in general, dice hate me, I found the gameplay loop to be extremely compelling with some fun systems to min-max as you go along. As mentioned in Saturday's video, the Momodora series of Metroidvania games do have their merits, and Minoria is the latest title from developer Bomb Service. Starring similar tropes where you play as anime nuns instead of anime priestesses, journey into the streets of Remesia, where witches must burn and sins must be judged. The change in art style from pixel art may be divisive, but I really like it, with some semi-3D stuff thrown into the mix as well. very Souls-like in nature with how healing and combat works, so this is a super stylish game and one for Metroidvania fans. For more of the best indie games, do check out the previous video or click on the recommended playlist, and I will see you after the jump.